just wanted to thank you guys before we get started for coming back and having our second group session, and welcome you guys back. I hope you guys had a good week since we've seen each other. Before we get started, you guys want to share anything new that has happened or anything fun, stand out? I know you guys all just started school, so how did that first week go?
For school, it's pretty good. Saw a lot of my friends, and my baby brother was born yesterday.
That's awesome. Huge blessing.
Very busy already.
What kind of things are keeping you busy?
Classes, leadership.
Leadership can be fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So kind of a recap, last week we talked about grief, and you guys shared some experiences with us within the group. You guys kind of want to give a little breakdown of what we talked about last week?
Morning.
Just about losing somebody.
Losing someone important too.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about that. You guys gave some specifics on, the personal losses that you guys have experienced, and our key words last week were mourning and coping. So I know we said that this week we were going to focus heavily on actual coping skills and see if we can get some good feedback on some stuff that we can take home and kind of work on individually and together. So one thing that we also talked about is accepting that grief there's no timeline for grief, on how long it takes for somebody to grieve, and how they continue to cope after the situation. I know Joanna mentioned last week that she felt that one of her experiences is she never got the opportunity to actually really cope. It was still more of a state of shock, and an experience that left unknown questions. So some things that you guys can deal with, how to deal with the actual grieving process is acknowledging your pain. Do you guys feel that you guys have been able to acknowledge some pain that you guys have experienced due to the loss that you guys have experienced?
Yeah, I know of it, but I only acknowledge it if it's necessary. So if someone would be talking about it, then I acknowledge it.
No, I don't really talk about it.
You don't talk about it?
No.
But is there a sense of acknowledgement within yourself?
Only with memories. And memories come out.
So acknowledging could be a sense of understanding that it's real, that it's there. And not necessarily saying like, oh, this happens. No, that, it doesn't have to be verbal to be acknowledged. It can be within yourself, it could be a thought, it could be a mindset. Accepting that grief can trigger many different and unexpected emotions. This is very, very real, and some things that may be triggered, and when it talks about emotions, it could be anger, and it could be anxiety, and it could be sadness, and at times it could be happiness because you're thinking about some happy memories. Is there any triggers that you guys feel that may cause some unexpected emotions, or
What do you mean by triggers?
triggers means
Well, I get what triggers mean, but what kind of triggers are you talking about?
so that's what I'm asking you guys, if there's a trigger that triggers your emotions.
When people talk about suicide or being surrounded by it.
So anytime suicide is mentioned, is something that makes you feel angry. You get angry when people bring up the word suicide, or is it anger towards them, towards suicide, the whole subject? What's the anger towards?
Or subject.
The whole subject. It's definitely not easy to talk about. It's definitely not something to something that nobody wants to talk about, but it's okay to talk about. But yeah, it definitely can be a trigger. So is there any triggers that you may experience?
No, not really.
For me, it's probably just like if someone would be talking about it and then just like getting in the mood to it, and I guess it was pretty sad.
So seeking out some support can help you. So that's, you know, the lesson that we have within this group. So knowing that you're here is already a step in the process of grieving and coping. So that's something good that's going on right now. So grief can be like a roller coaster. It's not necessarily something that is just always straight. You know, one day you may be super sad, crying, and that's definitely okay. But the next day, it may be a good day. You're thinking about memories and about the good times. So it could be, that day could be full of laughter and love and everything. And then the next day, it's like, again, it may be a trigger. Something may happen and you may just, you know, that day you may not want to talk to anybody. And that's perfectly okay as well. Do you guys ever feel like you experience that roller coaster emotion? Yeah, yeah, like kind of like an example of some things that happen.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes you're like in a happy mood and like all of a sudden like you just wanna cry and like not talk to anybody. It's just that type of mood.
Mood swings. Yeah, mood swings are definitely real. That is definitely a roller coaster. Because one second it's all good and the next second not so much. So hopefully today we can kind of talk about some stuff that'll help with that as well. Some emotional symptoms is, you know, we talked about shock and disbelief, sadness. Sometimes there's guilt involved in that. Anger and fear. Is there any of these that you guys think that you guys experience?
Yeah.
Which one?
Like all of them?
Not really anger. Everything else but anger.
We talked about all of them. Do you have any examples of some of them?
Well, I never want to believe that someone took their life, especially one of my friends. That's disbelief. And it makes me angry when people joke about it or talk about it as if they know what it is.
So some things that we could do to seek support is, you know, reaching out to friends and family members. You know, sometimes it's harder to talk to friends and sometimes it's harder to talk to family members. I think it really depends on the actual circumstance and the situation. You know, the three of your guys' experiences are very different. You know, yours was a family member, yours was a family friend, school friend. So it's finding the right people to surround yourself and be able to openly talk about it and within each other kind of lift each other up, you know, and all that backup and support is going to be very, very helpful. It's also accepting that sometimes people, they're kind of awkward by the situation, and it's not because it doesn't mean anything, but because they don't know the right words to say. They don't know, you know, we talked about mood swings just a couple minutes ago. They don't know if at that moment you're in it's a good day, or if at that moment it's a bad day. So they kind of are standoffish, and that's okay. Being able to accept that they don't mean any harm by it. They're just unsure of themselves and how they can be an assistance to you guys. Sometimes these are the best people to be around because they just want to be next to you. You don't want to talk about it, they're totally okay with not talking about you guys experienced anything like this, or have a particular friend or family member that kind of, you can tell that, oh, when it comes to that subject, they kind of don't want to talk about it, or they may
Yeah.
walk away, yeah, like,
Like what?
what are the experiences like, or who that person may be, or how it happens.
For me, my friend, like if something bad or wrong with her, I know, like not to like talk to her as much as I would to give her space.
Just anyone you can tell. Could be someone you don't know, but you can see that they're having a bad day because of whatever reason, so you know not to bring up a subject that would make them even feel worse of how they're already feeling.
You know, this next one is, it could be a little sensitive because there's so many different cultures and traditions out there, different religions and stuff, but it's drawing attention to your actual faith, whether that be in a religious form or in a cultural form, is having that faith, having that belief that things are okay, that that person is now in a better place, and that those of us that are here and suffering for that time being, that there will be a time where we will accept that we're okay, that this is okay, and all that's gonna happen by faith. Do you guys, you know, I don't wanna say are you guys religious, but do you guys feel like you guys have some faith within you guys yourselves to, that things will get better, that there's some hope on the other end? Another cool thing, because I know it's 2019 and it's the thing to do, using social media as an actual support factor. Things that could be done is maybe make a remembrance Facebook page about somebody and ask everybody, hey, let's post pictures of this person, or share your best memory, or when it comes to the actual anniversary of what, you know, whether their death or situation may be, and come up with different things. We see a lot out there where people are making scholarship funds in their remembrances, or doing charity work on their behalf. So utilizing social media is huge and can benefit. Have any of you guys seen that in some of your guys' situations that you guys talked about, or
Like it wouldn't be like for my problem. Like I would see like if I were to go and see some of my friends would just, if someone were to like lose somebody in their family, they would like do like some funny pages so they could like raise some money for the funeral, that type of stuff.
Not necessarily fundraisers, but just like saying praying for the family. Yes.
so on top of everything, it's very, very important that even though you're grieving and you're feeling very sad and very emotional, it's very, very important to continue to take care of yourself. That's including eating correctly, facing reality, facing that, you know what, today I'm sad, and I have the right to be sad, and I'm gonna be sad. Today I wanna cry, so I'm gonna cry. You know, finding the creative way to express your feelings. What do you think can be a creative way to express your feelings?
Just to know that you're sad and just like to let it out. Just like,
But what ways can you let it out? Other than talking about it, other than like getting in a group right now, or talking about it, or thinking about it in your head, what are some things that you could actually do creatively to do the exact same thing? So instead of talking about it, what could you possibly do?
People do like art.
Draw. Yeah, art is huge. It's a great way to express. It's also a great relaxation for you to just kind of like be calm and surreal for that moment and get lost in your art. What are some other stuff? Writing, yeah, absolutely writing, because you can write anything and everything, and you don't have to show nobody, or you can show the world. You can make it poetic, or you can just make it just key points. You just want to write down words, write down words. If you want to write down sentences, write down sentences. The beauty of it, it doesn't have to be APA format, it doesn't have to be, it's not going to be corrected by anybody, there's not going to be red ink across it, it's you, it's your writing, and getting lost in it can be very therapeutic. What about you, Joanna? What other creative ways that you think could be,
Sports.
yeah, engaging in sports? Yeah. Maybe a photo album or a scrapbook about that person may also be kind of things. So every time a new memory comes up, you can try to draw a picture about that memory or
Photography.
photography, yeah. Maintaining hobbies and interests, you mentioned sports already. That can definitely help. You kind of just go out there and for that moment you're engaged in that actual event and not engaged in the things that are hurting you. Don't let anyone tell you how to feel, and don't tell yourself how to feel either. Just let it be. Somebody comes up to you and says, hey, why are you always crying? Do not allow that to affect you, because, hey, guess what? I can cry if I want to, right? So plan ahead for grief's triggers, and this can be really hard. A lot of times where we see this are in anniversaries, of a death, or a birthday, or holidays. But it's really important to say, you know what? This year when their birthday comes around, let me do something positive. Let me think of something that, instead of sitting here and mourning all day long, what could we do to get that trigger and turn it into a positive emotion? What are some positive things that you guys think that you can do during, events like that, whether it be birthdays or anniversary of the event or holidays?
Just have fun, like with the family. Gathering.
Go to the burial area.
Going to remember them, spending some time with them there at the cemetery or wherever it may be.
Do the things they like to do.
That's a great one. That's an excellent one. Yeah. If that person enjoyed camping, hey, let's all of us get together and let's take a camping trip. Remember, you can just, hey, so and so would have loved to be here today. Yeah, that's an absolutely great one. All right, so before we finish today's group session, just kind of want to do a little activity with you guys. So in front of you guys have 3 color papers. So these color papers are gonna have meaning towards them. So your red one, so I'm gonna ask a series of questions. So your red one, if your answer to my question is always, you're gonna hold up the red one. If your answer to my question is sometimes, you're gonna hold up the green one. And if your answer to my question is never, then you're gonna hold up the blue one. You guys got that? So this is kind of like a coping skills assessment, just kind of seeing where you guys are at, and we'll talk about it after. What hopefully we can get out of this little activity. So remember, red is always, green is sometimes, blue is never. So do you use my words to hurt other people's feelings? Take a time out from the situation. Use my body to hurt others, like hitting, biting, kicking. Yell and scream. This one's interesting. Got a little bit of everything here. Do deep breathing or counting to 10. Make threats or look threatening. Talk to a friend or sibling about my feelings. Talk to an adult about my feelings. That's okay. Like, cry. Use bad words or swear at us. It's kind of interesting to see how fast some of your answers were like, boom, right away. And then to see some of them like, do I do this? Or do I really want to say this out loud? So here's the thing, all of those coping skills, there's nothing wrong with any of those. You know, there was one, I mean, except for the hitting. But it talked about throwing something. Sometimes it's okay to pick up a ball and throw it across the room because I just need to release. It's a sensitive release. You know, the hitting. Yeah, you can hit, but guess what you can hit? A punching bag, you know, something like that. That's gonna help you get all that frustration out and all that anger and that anxiety that you might be building up inside. So these are all coping skills that are definitely okay if you use them in a positive way. And knowing and learning how to build that trust within it. You know, I like to reference crying a lot, especially for boys and men, because they always say, oh, boys shouldn't cry, boys shouldn't cry. Well, why not? What is so wrong with an actual boy crying? You know, because that's a sense of relief. Crying is a good thing. It can be a very good thing because it's just, let it out, let it out. It's almost equivalent to hitting an actual punching bag. So it's a really good thing. But crying all day in bed where you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to eat, that stuff, that cannot be as positive. Those are things that's when it's time to, we need more help. We can't do this by ourselves. It's time to go to group sessions. It's time to reach out to a friend. So it's learning all of these coping skills, but using them in a positive manner. The cussing and swearing, you know, that one's very interesting. It's like, is it in your head or are you cussing at somebody? You know, that's what, you know, it's okay to say that stuff in your head or whatever, but it's not okay to express those feelings to somebody else or take out that anger on anybody else. So those are just some coping skills that I hope you guys kind of take into consideration and kind of, I really want you guys to go home and focus on these and try to build on them so that next week we can come back and I'd like to hear what you guys have to say, how you use some of these coping skills that, you know, and it doesn't have to be particularly about the situation that you guys, we've been talking about. It could be about anything. You know, I got a bad grade on my first test. You know, how did you deal with that? How did you cope with that? So hopefully these can kind of give you guys some insights and some ideas on what to take in on, you know, some your skills sets, and then we'll kind of get back together and kind of go over that. Do you guys have any questions or thoughts? No? Alright, so before we close, just, you know, we kind of briefly went over what we talked about last week, you know, grief, mourning, and we focused heavily on coping and the emotions of grief and how can it affect ourselves and what we can do as individuals to ensure that the grief is not overpowering our whole entire life and it doesn't overpower us as a person. And you know, and finish with our little activity on coping skills. So hopefully next week again we'll kind of further go into a little bit more details and see if we can come up and, you know, again try to keep into thought like, oh, this happened and this is how I coped with it today. So all right, well, thank you guys so much and we'll see you guys next week.